'Twas 2 nights before Valentine's Day when all through Matt's house not a creature was stirring, not even that hot chick in the cute blouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that you all could find some quality product for Matt's beautiful hair. The TV in the back had old classics playing like Hong Kong Phooey until eventually Hatfield decided to give you some pig suey.
Who else? Stick with me, booby. I'll make you a star.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Saturday morning to all of you out there, and welcome to another edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk, powered by CoVA Sports TV, where we are streaming each and every week for all of you on the YouTube channel. Hit that like button, the share button, and most importantly, the subscribe button, because the more times you hit subscribe, the more our numbers go up and the more often we can do this for all of you as we continue to blossom. On this day after Valentine's Day, love is always in the air when you are watching our show. Good morning, Sir Edward. How are you?
Not bad. That opening might have been one of our scariest ever.
How come?
You doing nursery rhymes, especially about Valentine's Day, scary. Big Suey has not caught on in this area at all.
I was just celebrating Arkansas's big win this week. That's all.
Yeah, but we know why.
I don't remember who they beat this week. They beat somebody. I don't remember.
Yeah,
they lost Alabama last week. I know that.
Yeah, they're not having the year that they quite figured they would have under the new direction of John Calipari. But there is a big game in the SEC today that we can talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, Auburn and Alabama. Will it be WDE, War Darn Eagle? I didn't say the other word. Or will it be Roll Tide? Maybe we can get Willie and Charles Barkley on that. Now that would be great if they could somehow on ESPN tonight get Willie and Charles Barkley on for 10 minutes each. Oh, that'd be gold. Be solid gold, Jerry. Solid gold, Eddie. Gold.
And it's amazing that we're talking basketball about those two, not football.
Yeah.
And when we talk about number one, number two, we're talking about 1, 2 in the country.
Yeah, not just the
so
SEC.
That hasn't happened in I don't know how long.
But we're not going to talk about basketball just yet in terms of diving in deep. We'll get to the high school hoops. Don't worry. We got some sound for all of you. We got some, I guess maybe some quick reaction to the Super Bowl. It was a ho-hum game. We were both wrong. The Eagles won, and congratulations to Josh Sweat. He of Oscar Smith High. Congratulations to Orrin Burks. He from up there in Fairfax, up at South County High School. Congratulations to Rick Lovato, two-time Super Bowl champ and long snapper from Old Dominion. Congratulations to Christian Parker. You say, who is that? That's the defensive backs coach for the Eagles from Battlefield High School, who used to coach at Norfolk State. He's a rising star in the business. It was great to see Sweat dominate with a couple, 2.5 sacks. In fact, should have got MVP in my opinion. Nothing against Jalen Hurts. But we have to really start more as we say good morning to Keith from Smithfield who's watching. What happened last night, Edward?
Big news.
Big news
last night.
Well, in fact, for those that didn't see it, if you didn't have ESPN Plus, which is what I think it was on, I didn't see it. Eddie saw it. Coach Young saw it, I should say. Let's give you all a little taste of what transpired. Not the whole fight. We can't do that. We'd probably get copyrighted. But here's a little snippet of it. Let's take a look at it if you missed it.
Way to get to your position is the biggest target. You see Keyshawn right there, staying composed on the inside, not allowing Berinchyk to tie him up. Again, nice control right there, getting loose, not giving up his hands, keeping his hands free, and landing that shot right there to the liver. Now understand this, from the southpaw stance, that liver sits right there where he landed, right there. You see him dig that shot up. Perfect technique on the inside by Keyshawn Davis, and you saw the effect of that shot right there. No mas from Berinchyk.
Became a father.
There you go. That was no Moss. You saw it, Ed. Keyshawn Davis. He does it. World champion. Friday night as he knocked out Denys Berinchyk to capture the WBO lightweight title at the theater at Madison Square Garden in New York City. New York City? That's right. How about Keyshawn Davis? And not just Keyshawn Davis winning, which obviously is the story. That's the headline. That is the total meat and potatoes here. But undercard, brother Keyshawn Davis got it done. He beat Ira Johnson in a 150-pound match, his second professional bout. So the Davis boys getting it done, but Keyshawn now has become a worldwide, nationwide superstar. And so great to see. Remember, we talked about it, I believe, well, he obviously the Olympian, but we talked about it in the fall and what a great story he is. And just spectacular. Absolutely terrific.
Yeah, I did get to watch it. Had went out to see Norview Churchland basketball, got back in time to see I was in an establishment getting some eats, and I saw the undercard.
Because you do that, you'll get thrown out. So
that's why I just said establishment.
Making sure. I know you were going that direction. You were about to say what you ate, and then you're going to give them all kinds of love.
No, food was good. Place you have frequent many a time. Okay. But anyways, I did. It was on the big screen. That when UCL, I was interested in UCL.
It was on the main ESPN because I was getting told yesterday it was on ESPN Plus, but it was on the main.
No, it was main ESPN.
Oh, okay. So I misspoke. All right.
And then right next to it, I got
the last one was on ESPN Plus, wasn't it? It was the last one I think he did. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
And then I was interested in Indiana UCLA basketball game last night, which turned out to be pretty good.
UCLA took that, right? Close.
UCLA, Indiana.
Yeah, they took that close.
Yeah, right? UCLA won by 2.
Okay.
So, but
no rants from Mick Cronin, but go ahead, continue on.
Yeah, Davis. I mean, I'm not a boxing expert. Now we have a boxing person coming on.
Oh, do we?
10:30.
10:30 or 11:30?
No, he can do 10:30.
Well, we've got the other guest doing 10:30. So now you've double booked.
I'll just tell him we got to move him.
Okay.
We can't divulge who it is right now.
Double booked. Okay.
No, we're not going to do double book. We'll move him to
11. You've done that already.
But Davis, you're right. He's a star in the making. Even though he's one of the champs now. Remember, boxing got so many doggone letter champions, but he's WBO, World Boxing Association lightweight champ.
No, WBO doesn't stand for that. World Boxing Association would be WBA.
What's WBO? Organization. What did I say?
World Boxing, or you said association, organization. No,
it's WBO. That'd have to be organization.
We know you have BO, but move forward. It's all right.
Yeah, I got to get the BO right. Yeah. Watching him box, when it first started, the other guy who I've never heard of, and it's the first time he ever boxed in the United States, he looked like more of a power puncher. Mm-hmm. And Davis, it looks more of a guy. He's light on his feet, but he has those hits that get worse as the match goes on. They start feeling a little bit more heavier as the match goes on. He's not. I don't think he's I'm not an expert. He's a power puncher, but he stings you with a lot of different hits. And then he got him on those kidney punches, which is what actually knocked him out. You don't see that a lot. Usually get someone in the jaw or the face, they're going out. He got him on the side a few times. He had knocked him down earlier on a kidney hit. And then in that round, I think it was the 4th round, he got him again. I think it was a double. And that he went down and he was on one knee for the entire 10 seconds. He wasn't coming back up. Davis, I think is only going to get better. I don't think he's nowhere near his peak. He is quick. He's got those fast hands. And once he starts taking on a plethora of different fighters, I think he'll get better. And that was he's only had 14 fights. And I remember them saying it was the 3rd fastest to a title. He had tied Oscar De La Hoya, who was a tremendous champ, with 14. I think 12 was the quickest. I forget the guy's name. It's a foreign boxer from way back.
If you watch the ticker here, it tells you all that.
Yeah, I don't
what the people are reading or watching, I should say, or both. There you go, Vasily Lomachenko, or Lomachenko, excuse me, Vasily.
Nobody's going to care who
and
it is.
Jimmy Brett each achieved defeat in 12 fights. But go ahead, continue on. That's why we have the ticker for people to get the news that you can use, as our buddy, the great Coach Charles Hatcher of Sports Inside and Out likes to say. The news. So we get
So,
go ahead.
but anyways, he was. I think he's going to be extremely very talented fighter, much more potent fighter as the next few years come on. In fact, him and his brothers, I think are going to be people to really deal with.
Sure. We do have Roger Smith, the Manor girls basketball coach, set to join us. So if you could tell the other guests he can come on right after Roger, that would be awesome. If he can, otherwise we'll have to do some fancy footwork to maneuver Roger, the Dodger, not to be related to Roger the Dodger.
So you want him at 11 or 11:30?
Whenever he can come on, he can come on right after we're done with Roger. If he watches the show, or whenever it works for him. I don't want to, be picky and choosy. It's been a whirlwind 24 hours for me. That's for stuff we can't always divulge into on the air. But when I think of what I'm watching with Keyshawn Davis, and I'm just watching the highlights, I didn't watch the fight, so I'll be full disclosure and be honest here. I just can't help but think of the late great Sweet Pea Whitaker, though, because that's the last Norfolk or 757 boxing legend that we've had. And really, I don't want to say the only, but the last one we've had of major consequence and substance that leaps to mind. So this is really cool to see. And I'm fascinated to see where his career goes from here. He's already an Olympian. He's now a champion on a worldwide level. What's next for him? And this is a sport, like you said, doesn't have the acclaim and popularity that it once did. But for Keyshawn Davis, I hope the 757 will continue to wrap him up. And there were chants, you hear the chants of Norfolk, you see some of those things that are written in these stories and that are talked about. And that's the cool part of this. It gives more of a, relevance to the area and how many superstars and great names that have come from here, which is always the running theme, not just of our show, but I think for so many of the folks that watch and cover our sports here locally and see, why do they have so many great people from here? And we always say that it's the old phrase of it's something in the water. That's what leaps to mind. But I think it's pretty cool. I think it's really, really cool, and be curious to see where things go from here. We say good morning to Woodrow out there who's watching, Woody Wagner. I know he took in the Hampton Crabbers boys and girls this week. And also our man Keith is chiming in. It put a snow. I think he must say it's about to snow, Keith. We got to get Keith on the screen. People are dying to see Keith, by the way. About the region and basketball games for next week. Keith, I'll try to decipher what you're trying to ask here. I can just see Ed there. Keith gets to play that. Stop messing with the keyboard.
Not that hard. Keith says he's going to put some snow on it Wednesday. No. And
they are calling for, if you believe it, Ed, upwards of 10 to 12 inches. Keith. Don't say it. Don't you say it. It's going to happen. Do not say it's going to happen.
No, I've been close to the weather people. No. We're not getting any snow Wednesday that's going to prevent games from happening. So make your preparations. We're going into very much the home stretch. You have maybe a few games today. I think there's some games Monday. I think there are a few games Tuesday, and then it really dries up and people get ready for the playoffs, Tour of Regions next weekend. So we're not going to have the bad weather that they're expecting that's going to cancel games. So we'll get them in. We won't have no worry about that. Things will be okay. And by the way, our guest is coming on at 11 o'clock.
Perfect.
You want me to give you a name, or you want to tease everybody?
It's up to you, but you're the meteorologist right now. Can you tell us what the wind's going to be like today for folks in Hampton Roads or wherever they might be?
Winds temperature today will be in the mid 40s. We've got winds out of the central north part of the United States, which is bringing a little chill from the Canadian area.
What's the barometric pressure? Can you give us an update on that?
39.9, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And also
more than your bank account. Good to know. Okay.
Yeah, we have, now there's some snow in the Northeast. They're getting that stuff up there. They're going to keep that up there. But as far as us getting any precipitation in terms of snow, the rest of this year, 0.
Open mouth, insert foot.
No, I can.
This one, I insert mouth.
In the past, I was kind of wrong, and maybe some of your Virginia Prep Classic tournaments, but
every one of them you done jinxed, including this year's, the first edition.
Yeah,
which we made into the not edition, then we made the second edition, the first and only edition, thanks to you. Always.
No, this year I did say that I think you're going to have some snow on that first one. I think You didn't like it, but I was trying to be
Woody,
strict.
if it snows, it's Ed Young's fault because he just told you we're getting no snow. And I've seen all kinds of models of 4 to 5 inches. And I know the last time we had that kind of snow, I had to be put up in a hotel next to the arena for our women's basketball game. We're supposed to have an education day game on Thursday for all the kiddies. So it better not snow and ruin their fun with all the cotton candy and popcorn and soda. Otherwise, everybody affiliated with the Lady Monarchs and with Chartway Arena will be blaming you, my friend Edward. It'll be your fault and your fault alone. Nobody else's, not Mother Nature. It'll be your fault.
I'm pretty good. I've been following the meteorologist in the area. I've been looking up the Farmer's Almanac. I went outside and put my finger up in the air, and I was trying to feel the barometric pressure. So I'm good. I'm good. But I feel very confident. So those people that need to go on vacation next Wednesday, whatever, you'll be able to do all that.
Unbelievable. I did, by the way, I can't say who, I'll get in trouble. One of our referee buddies who watches the show religiously, we have a lot of them that do. He and his family are going to Disney World here soon. I think it's next month, though, not this month. But every time I see him, he always asks where my sidekick is. And I go, who's my sidekick? I'm talking about you. You're the sidekick.
Yeah, I'm nobody's sidekick.
I'd like to kick him in the side is what I'd say.
I am nobody's sidekick. I'm my own person. I'm the main entity, the main entity. And yeah, I call home where I hang my hat and don't wear one. And I move to my own groove.
It's good to know that you're moving and grooving.
And that Super Bowl, by the way, was a disaster to watch. Now, I will say, Josh Sweat, I agree with you. Should have been MVP. The good thing for Sweat is that game has to boost his notoriety, and he is a free agent.
Yeah, he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to get a payday.
Yeah. There are going to be a lot of people that want him. And again, let me just put my finishing touch on Super Bowl. Kansas City speaking of boxing, Kansas City got hit with a flurry of body punches, one to the face, one to the neck, and they never really could recover. That Eagle defense was the best defense in a game I think I've seen in a couple years. It's hard for me to go back and find out who played better. They had everything covered. And Mahomes just running for his life. And here's the crazy thing about that. I don't want to go on a rant, but here the Eagles win. Everybody says the Eagles, man for man, are a better team. Mm-hmm. Now, all those talking heads on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which I probably listened too much, talking about is Hurts a Hall of Famer? Is this a start of a dynasty? Why can't the Chiefs come through in a big game? They've come through in a big game always, except this one. To make too big of a deal out of it. If Hurts was on track for Hall of Fame now, why wasn't he before the game? So, I refuse to say Kansas City got whooped, and the Eagles deserved it, and they're a great team. What, second best record in football? So put them there. Now, are they coming back next year? Boy, if we could talk about next year, we'd all be making some kind of money. I would think they'd be a favorite, but I noticed in the long range betting, Kansas City has a better chance of getting back to the Super Bowl than Philadelphia. That to me is crazy, but that's because all the Eagles free agents. A lot of the talking heads don't think they're going to keep all those free agents. So
I've told you before, why are you too busy listening to talk radio and all those things?
I try to educate myself, hear what the experts are saying before I can form an opinion that matters. So I'll listen to that,
and it results in bad things. Why do you do that?
Like
you know what I'm going to say about that? I don't know if you saw my comment on your Facebook page this week. It's like what Bill Parcells said to the media. You know what he said to the media?
He said a lot of things to the media.
Here's one of the things he said.
Speaking of Terrell Owens, on Wednesday, he did mention the fact that when you talked to the team on Monday, he didn't pay much any attention to some of those comments. Does that disappoint you, the fact that he said he was...
No, because he sucks you guys in. He hears everything I say. Okay, and he can tell me 3 weeks from now what I said today. So he sucks you guys right in. So consider yourself sucked.
I really didn't want to hear that.
You know how many years you're going to have to look at that soundbite now? You think you like playing the media game more than what you...
Look, fellas, I got to go to practice. You got something important to talk about? Let's talk. If not, I'm going to practice.
Parish man,
Okay, I'm not dealing in chit chat. It's a time of year where the intensity levels up.
There you go. You got sucked, Ed, just like the media. They suck you in, and you got sucked. That's what happens. They do it to you all the time. You get all revved up about these topics. Now, listen, I fell victim to it the other day when ESPN put Bronny James over Jamal Murray's 55-point game. And Bronny had like 9 and a lopsided loss to the woeful Utah Jazz. But they suck you in. All these Sirius XM shows, these debate shows, you get sucked in. You got sucked.
And the idea, when I watch some of Parcells' other back in the day interviews, it's up there with probably who I consider the best interview of all time, Bobby Knight stuff. Bobby Knight is, if you want to watch some.
What do you call Game Face?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that was the best. That was what's
great. The Game Face is all. Or his Golf Your Way. His Golf Your Way was priceless.
Yes,
If you ever seen Golf Your Way, it has some expletives in it, but it's priceless. His Golf Your Way.
And then the one time he had the whip, some people thought he was being truthful with the whip. Yeah. Sometimes he did kind of cross the line or at least touch it, but
a little bit.
He is one of the best interviewers. The media, they hate him, but they love to hate him because he always gives them content. And that's kind of the idea for the media, is to get content. Because you've done that sometimes too. I know in some interviews, some people said, "Hey man, you better tell your buddy Matt, stop asking those hard questions." I go, just punch him in the face once or twice. He won't ask you that no more. That's all.
Pow, right in a kisser. By the way, Josh Sweat, if you're watching, he does watch from time to time. We're going to effort getting Josh on the show. We're going to effort getting the Davis boys on the show, by the way. We've reached out to Keyshawn's people because he obviously was in town for that Maury Wise game back in September. Took a picture as he spoke with the Commodores, who went on to win their second straight state title. But Josh, if you're watching, this is where you need to go, baby. Right here. This is where you need to go. Arizona Cardinals. We'll take you. Bird Gang. We'll give you all kinds of flowers, roses, money. That's where you need to go. Come be a part of greatness.
He's not going to go backwards. He's only going to go forward.
Cardinals is where to go. One more comment here before we go to break, and then talk with Roger Smith. Our man Keith says Grafton to High's got a new football coach, and I know you did see this. New football coach for Grafton High is Corey Hairston, who we thought was retiring from Warwick, and now he's going to coach the Clippers. Remember, we had Coach Hairston on. I know you loved when he was on with us in the fall. Move the chains. And we actually sat up with our buddy John and the gang up there. A couple of your buddies, Don and Don. I think it wasn't it Don and Don?
Don and Doug.
Don and Doug, excuse me. Yeah, over there at the ODU football games a couple times this year. I was back and forth between the seats and the press room getting the free food. That's how I operate. But anyhow, we got a chance to talk with Coach Hairston about Move the Chains, and ODU does the same thing. And he had a great tenure at Warwick. Thomas Sykes, his longtime D coordinator, is taking over at Warwick. But good to see Coach Hairston staying in the game. I don't like to see guys like him and yourself go into retirement mode, which I know you're not into full retirement mode, just the teaching part, not the coaching. But we need people like him, quality individuals who help grow these young men and women into quality people. And I'm glad to see he's sticking around and going to be taking on a new challenge at Grafton in the Bay Rivers District.
Yeah, I think you heard what I was saying about being retirement from coaching. You know, a lot of people love it, and others like me are just can't get away from it. And, you know, I'm real glad to hear that too, because I think he does have a lot to offer. And, you know, maybe they came after him. So that's good. We got another.
That's a scoop. Now, I had heard this rumor that John Huffman, I had not confirmed it. I actually reached out to someone. I haven't spoken to Mike Beal, but I have heard that rumor. So, John, if you're in the know for sure on this, we'll take your word for it. So if that is indeed the case, that's a heck of a hire for the Grizzlies, if that's true. Which I have heard rumored that to be the case. So I got to reach out to Mike this week, and you've given me an assignment here, John. We appreciate that as he gives a scoop. Now this will be all over the TV and newspapers in the next 10 minutes, by the way.
Was it Mike? Is he coming from the academy?
Mike was at Nantucket Suffolk Academy. We've had him on before. He was a heck of a quarterback. Remember, played for Chris Beatty. Was an assistant, played from Salem in Virginia Beach, and was an assistant at Tallwood before he got to NSA. Great dude. So I think he'll do a nice job at Grassfield. That's a great hire for them. If indeed it is true, which we'll double check that on John's case. Oh, the news he said it had it last night. 13. Okay. Good deal. There you go. So shout out to Brian Smith and his crew. I've seen Brian from time to time in a lot of basketball gyms and over at Chartway. We got to get Brian on the show sometime soon too. He came on with us in the past radio-wise. So, all right, let's take a timeout. We've got more coming your way. You're going to hear from Maurice Fofana of Kingsport Girls. You're going to hear from Roger Smith live with us here in just a little bit. And you want to divulge that guest, or you want to keep people on their toes of who's coming on?
We'll divulge it, and we got the one and the only Ed Miller will be coming on around 11 o'clock hour, talks of the boxing and some college hoops and whatever else Ed wants to talk about. Whatever he wants to talk about, we'll let him talk.
There you go. It's all coming your way right here in a little bit on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Stay tuned.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why there's CHKD Sports Medicine. Advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries, just for young athletes like yours.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
I'm here with Kingsport Girls basketball coach Maurice Fofana. His team wins at 51-46 over Nansemond River as they get a big rivalry win tonight. Coach, hard-fought game with the Warriors and your squad the last couple years. It's going on the wire with them. Down the stretch, a freshman for you, Solis Jones, with 2 crucial threes. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so we was talking the whole time about, hey, just let's stay in the game because, she's young. She's never been in this situation before, so she was kind of getting in her own head sometimes. And sometimes I'm guilty of getting in her head, too, because I'm on her. But I told her, hey, you're going to make something when we need it. And that's what she did. We just finished talking about it. She made 2 crucial 3-pointers back-to-back when we needed a good run, and she sparked it for us.
You had control in the first half. They take the lead in the third quarter, but I'm not sure people understand. This is still a really young basketball team with a couple of sophomores, a couple of freshmen and a sophomore, plus a junior starting for you. So really their best basketball is way ahead of them.
Definitely. It's way ahead of them, and that's what we preach every day in practice is just, hey, stay the course. Process. Trust the process. Trust the process. And like I said, these young kids, they're not used to playing in a gym with a sellout crowd. So they get to looking around. They're like, oh, I don't know about this yet. But they did well. And like you said, the best is yet to come with this young group.
You have a really talented junior in Riley Hite, the daughter of Kingsport boys coach Rick Hite and brother of Ryan, who's at Hampton University. 22 points per ball game. What makes her so unique, A, and what must she do to go from really good to one of the best in the whole state?
I think she can be one of the best in the state. And what makes her really good is she just can do it all. She can handle the ball well. She put on the floor. She get us in our offense. She can shoot the 3 ball deeply. a great defender, long arms. She can do it all for us, and she's right now, I say, one of the best kids in the state.
Sure. Last 2 minutes to run against Nansemond River. Packed atmosphere, big crowd. You're used to these games as the head coach of this program. What do you love the most about coaching this particular team, though?
I love this group because they have no quit in them. Even though they're a young group, even though things didn't go their way, we jumped out early because, we stuck with our game plan and we came out and we was ready to play. But with a young group, you kind of take your foot off the gas sometimes. You kind of think the game is over with. And we kind of got complacent and we stopped scoring. We kind of dribble the ball around in circles at times. But that's a young group. But I'm just so happy that they have no quit in them. And as long as they don't have any quit, they're going to keep fighting. And whatever happens with this group. The first time we played them, it was the same way. We was down 10 points in the fourth quarter and cut it on, and they jumped right back in it, and we won that one also.
Sure. Last thing I mentioned, you're no newbie to this, no stranger. You've been in the state championship before, won a ring. Class 4, you're in Class 5 now here for a couple of years. We know Princess Anne is the obvious queen in Class 5, but your region's still very competitive with Menchville and your program and Nansemond River. What's it going to be take to be a team that's in the mix come March for the tournament championship?
We just got to execute down the stretch. Being able to execute and play good defense. My teams are known for defense, and that won't change now with some kids that I have that can score the ball. But
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. That was Maurice Fofana, head girls basketball coach of the Kings Fork girls program. We apologize at the end of that interview, got cut off with some technical issues, but great to catch up with him. His team is rolling right now, Edward, and they look to be a factor in 5B, where you still have Menchville, who is viewed as a state title level contender too. Riley Hite, certainly a factor for them as a junior, and we could see them make a deep run again come playoff time.
Agreed. He does have a young team, but he's been there before, which is a help. And I've always said that those teams that have been there before, I think, have an advantage. But he has a young team, so that could be interesting. But I'm going to say this about 5A girls, as I've said about 2A boys. Everybody's playing for second place, and people know what that means. And boys,
is that for 5A boys and 5A girls?
5A girls and 2A boys, yes.
2A.
Until somebody beats Marshall in the state title game, it will not happen. And until somebody beats Princess Anne in the state title game.
But you were throwing Woodside boys in that same mixture.
Yeah, I would say you could put Woodside in there too. You keep talking about this Riverside team as being pretty good.
They're good. They're very good. Don't be hating on them. They're really good.
No, I'm not going to hate on them because I really don't know them. I haven't seen them. And I hope, and I picked Woodside back in August.
Squad. Max Lawson and Josh Nitamoa and Brady Peterson, and really the guy who's just blossomed this is Mason Ridgway, junior forward. They're talented, and they play well together. They play well. They remind me a little bit of the Patrick Henry team from a couple of years ago, without the outside shooting, but maybe a little bit more balanced, and in some respects, discipline on both sides of the ball. They're good. And
Woodside. I'm sticking with Woodside. They proved to me they're able to come through from behind. They've won some really big games this year. Of course, they did lose to Marshall in a tough one, missing a couple key guys. But and I'm not gonna dump on Riverside because I haven't seen them, whatever. Don't know anybody over that way. But right now they are secondary to me. I'm sticking with Woodside as the repeat third.
3 in a row.
Okay, so.
Well, sometimes we get surprises. I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion. I'm with you. I think Woodside will win it, but I think they also can be beaten. I'm not sure anybody's going to beat Princess Anne and John Marshall in the other two brackets. But, time will tell. We shall see. By the way, you know who joined Maurice Fofana's staff? You already probably knew this because you're on top of basketball things more than I am these days because you go to more games. You frequent more games in person than I do. As your buddy, your former I don't know if he was your office mate, one of your coaching cohorts at Nansemond River, Calvin Mason. We got a chance to chat it up a little bit.
Yeah, Calvin joined them, I think, last year.
Okay, so again, you knew about it before I did. I wasn't aware, but like I said,
there are a few things that I know before you. You don't get the scoops on everything now. I've walked into Baskin Robbins before you and got my scoops too now.
Yeah,
it's just that you beat doors down a little bit more than I do to get those scoops. So.
yeah, pretty much. We now have a special guest with us. As you see, it was teased a little bit ago, and we talked with Maurice Fofana of the Kings Fork girls. Now it's a chance to give the highlight to the Manor Mustangs girls. They are back-to-back Eastern District champions, and we say hello to our good friend, Roger Smith. Congrats, Coach. Another great year for you, and you keep doing it in the Eastern District. We've seen on Ed's former players and Jonathan Wilson take Norview to the state playoffs. He's now over at Granby. Sandra Sawyer's got rings just like her husband, Hank, in football, and you keep winning over there at Manor. Do it quietly there in Portsmouth. Got to be happy with this group, huh?
Very happy, man. Very happy. They've exceeded my expectations. I never thought we would be where we are at this point. Basically, I only have like 6 players and had to move 2 kids up from JV that aren't really ready for varsity, but I didn't have much of a choice. So the girls are really exceeding my expectations, man. I'm very proud of them.
Awesome. Now you are in Region 4A, correct?
Yes.
Give us a little bit of a snapshot breakdown of how your playoffs work, because I get asked this everywhere I go. I could not even high school, doing ODU games. They ask me, when do the playoffs start? Where are they going to be at? Those are the first 2 questions people ask, because some people, as you know, from the old days, and you were making runs to the state tournament back in the Khadijah Whittington, TJ Jordan days when it was Woodrow Wilson High School before you all changed back to Manor. Give us the snapshot of what it looks like for Manor. It is a power rating system and how it will go for Region 4A when you have quarters, semis, and where the game's going to be at, if you can.
Okay, I'll give you what I have, which is not very much. I do know that our region starts on Thursday, and top 16s make our region, and number 2 teams will get a bye the first round, and that will be us and Hampton High. And so 4 play 5 and 3 will play 6. I think that's Thursday, and I think each of us plays the winner of those 2 games on Friday, from what I'm hearing now.
Okay, good to know. Ed?
First of all, good morning, Raj. Good to see you again. I'm mystified on a couple of things.
Morning.
With your great recruiting expertise, how the hell you only got 6 players?
Hey, man, this is a down year, man. It really is. I had 3 seniors from last year, and
what the heck? You spend all your NIL money on what? What are you doing over there? Now you're one of my stalwarts, huh?
I spent all my NIL money on food.
See this is why I like this guy. He's truthful. We talked about me going into Baskin Robbins. I've seen Roger push little kids out of the way to get in there before closing at Baskin Robbins. He spent the NIL money on ice cream.
He learned from you, though. He learned from you. That's what you do. You push kids out of the way. You do it he does it at Turn Back the Clock night, Roger. You see him. He's cutting in front of kids. He's, Mike Whittington over at Lakeland, the AD. He was trying to say he was the adopted father to get in line to get further up. That's what Ed does.
I learned from the best, and I'm right behind him in those victories. Maybe one of these days I'll get to 500. Won't be long. But I'm following in the right footsteps of the right man.
There's no question you'll get to 500. I got to jump back in so I can stay ahead of you, so I won't be forgotten all the time. But no, I mean, in looking now, when you mentioned about the playoff, Raj, now I'm assuming three's playing 6, 4's playing 5. Are those going to be at number 3, number 4 individual games? Are they together somewhere? And then what about championships? Are they going to be on the next round? Is it going to be on number 1 floor, Hampton floor, your floor?
Now I'm not sure about those first 2 games with 4 and 5 and 3 and 6, but I do know the next 2 games will be at our place.
So, okay, so would Hampton be playing at your place too? In other words, are you hosting all of that or just your games?
Yes.
Hosting all that. Okay. And see, this is the thing that gets me. Even when I was coaching, it's so all the regions do something different.
That's right.
Which is, some have 6 teams, 8 teams, 10 teams, 12 teams. And then, some have the top seeds get to host. And then some have well, you would play the first few games at top seed, then we go into an arena or whatever. I just wish it would be more unified. And I don't mind first round being at the higher seeds. It's kind of you won that. But then after that, I've always been a proponent of, since the state team that gets to the states is going to be on the big floor, Siegel, let's get all our games. Let's play at Hampton, William and Mary, Scope. Let's go to Old Dominion, wherever the bigger courts are. Exactly. That's just my opinion. How do you feel on stuff like that?
I totally agree. But that way the kids be used to playing on that size floor, not on that college floor. Because I'm sure it'll be a shock to them if they get to get on that floor at VCU and have to play on a large floor and not used to playing on that floor. Now, they have that large floor at Churchland also, so we get a chance to go there at least once a year. But it makes a lot of sense what you're saying.
But see, and the other thing too, Roger, the reason I like it is, and I've had people argue back and forth and say, well, playing 1 or 2 games is not going to make a difference. Well, let me have my team on there if it ain't going to make a difference from you, because a lot of those other areas, especially Richmond, they're playing on the big courts. So their girls, their guys have played a game or 2 on a bigger court.
Right.
So let's put everything on the level side. Now, Church is a great facility. I'm not putting it down. Kings Fork holds some people too. But I also like the idea of making it different from the regular season, making it a tournament atmosphere.
Right.
As to, I believe strongly that when you get into the state tournament, all the rounds should be at big facility. And it should be as many games as possible, like many other states do. They'll play at their big arenas. They make the state tournament seem extremely different than a regular season. I understand it's about money and availability. I get all that.
Right.
My thing is to the higher ups, then do something about it ahead of time and give that atmosphere to the kids and the coaches. They deserve as much.
I totally agree. I like it when they had all the games at VCU, but I guess that's not feasible anymore.
Well, because that was back, and Matt would know it even better than I think they started playing like on Monday. State games all the way through, because you're looking at 12.
It became too much for the I think the VHSL as an entity to hold, but for us it was basketball heaven, because we got to see game to game. And I know for all you guys, if you had a semifinal opponent, you could see them live and in person as opposed to watching the film, so you got a chance to get that feel of them before you played them. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, if I'm not mistaken, Coach, before I let Ed jump back in here, we go into some of your key players and what's on deck. We're talking with Roger Smith, the head girls basketball coach at Manor High School in Portsmouth, back-to-back Eastern District championships. Our guest here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on CoVA Sports TV. Didn't last year you had to draw Hampton on the same side of the bracket? You lost them by 5 or 6 in the region semis. Jamestown got the 1 seed undefeated. So this year, better if you stay away from them. You guys would see each other in the championship, which means you could run into each other again in the States.
Right. We'll see. Actually, I think we'll see each other again in the championship, the region's championship and state championship. I think they do it on. I think they alternate from year to year on how the brackets align.
Yeah, and it's funny you said, because I was talking with a couple of class 6 and 5 boys and girls coaches, and I think, and I could be wrong on this, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think your class and class 6 have shifted it, whereas this is one of Ed and I's big pet peeves is, let's say, and this is taking nothing from Woodgrove and other teams around the state, let's say the 2 best teams in girls basketball in class 4 were from Tidewater, in your case in Hampton. You could possibly see each other in the championship round as opposed to the semis. I think they changed the bracket this year for 6 and 4, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right. It alternates. I think it should be this way every year.
Yep. I'm with you.
I don't think the best 2 teams should be playing each other in the semifinals.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
I've said it from day one that when you get into the VHSL has always had it predetermined, A versus B, C versus D, maybe the next year A, B, D. And I've always said, no, we get to the state tournament, let's reseed and get a committee. I've always said Matt Hatfield knows about basketball, Boo Williams. Let's get some guys across the state, not all our area, sit down in a room and then figure it out the best you can. I don't want to hear, well, somebody's going to still be mad. I as a coach, I'm good with that, knowing I've got people that know basketball make a determination. Now, they might pick me 7th best, and I'm thinking I'm 4th. But you know what?
Right.
They got unbiased opinion. I'll go with it. But this predetermined crap where you have potentially, and it's happened many a times, 2 best teams playing early, it's got to go. It's not the way it should be. I'm even saying, if you don't want to go that big, then as you win, reseed. that you can say, well, we're going to make sure as the teams win, the two best are going to be in a matchup. Now, you're going to step on toes. I know that. But to those coaches, including me, I would just simply say, prove them wrong. Just win a game, prove them wrong to get into that championship game. But on paper, let's set it up where the two best are going to. And I know a lot of people in the past have said no from other areas because a lot of times the 7-5-7 was sending the two best all over. And there were times when teams who did not get into playoffs out of our area were good enough to beat teams that did from other areas. Exactly. And I've always been a proponent that this two-team only thing needs to stop. That we totally agree. It, go for. Let's put the best teams in there. Stop. Sometimes when you get these people above us who have not really been where you have been, Raj, I've been, they make these determinations for everybody else, and it's just really not fair. It's just not. And I know they just say, well, keep quiet. If you're good enough, you'll win through, you'll get the title, but you're missing out on a lot of other good teams.
That's true. That's true. And it's kind of bad when teams are sitting at home and we watch these games and you say to yourself, there's no doubt in our mind that we could have beaten that team. It's unfair. I totally agree. But how do we go about changing that?
It's a good point.
It's going to take a lot to change it. Number one, I think we need a stronger voice in coaching. I've always said that we have no say in anything, even at our level. And maybe with this new coach association, which I've just joined, that maybe we can start mustering up enough support. Because I'm really gung ho about it because I'm crazy enough to say we need to do something about coaches' salaries. The coaching salaries are a joke. I know in Suffolk they hardly ever raise them, ever. It's usually on somebody's whim. If we're going to give the coaches a couple extra bucks this year in their coaching contract, where I've been in Pennsylvania, where I was originally coached, the coaching contract was tied to your teaching contract. So whatever your teaching contract went up, that's what your coaching contract went up. So be it. Which, okay, I can live with that because you're guaranteed a raise every year. Mm-hmm. So I just think we need better voices and if we all, sometimes us coaches, we always think we look at each other and say, man, you're trying to get over on me. In this situation, no, we're not. We're trying to make it best for the profession, make it best for the kids, the teams, to get the best teams there.
That's true.
And my agenda, I always told people in all the meetings I go to, I don't have a hidden agenda. I'm trying to win every game, every time. I'll beat Roger if I can, and then I'll buy him some ice cream later. But I'm trying to win the game.
Vanilla.
That's no agenda. Vanilla, huh?
Yeah.
But I totally agree. I totally agree, man. Something has to be done. And hopefully, like you said, with the new coaching association, hopefully that'll give us more of a voice because I think so many other coaches around the state are actually in agreement to what we're saying. We have to have a voice, and we really don't have a voice right now. They basically do exactly what they want because
and I'll go a step further because I can say it now. You got ADs and principals that have no clue what the hell's going on. And they're in charge of making these decisions without coaches' help and knowledge, which is a joke. And I know that steps on certain people's name, but I didn't say every one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of those weak ones out there that's clueless, yeah, it's going to hit a nerve because I'm talking about you. But when we put people in those positions that know what they've done, like the ADs that have been former coaches, principals that have been through it, they come from a perspective of, I know what those coaches are talking about. I know what they're feeling because they have done it.
Yep.
And they remember that. It's amazing. We got ADs that have never really coached or they coach sports such as tennis and golf. And no slap in the face to those sports. But that's not the same as being on a football field, basketball court, whatever. I'm just going to say it the way it is because I'm old. I'm allowed to talk that way. And then, of course, you got principals that wrote the book on Clueless. It's just when it comes to sports, it really does. You hire a strong AD, you rely on your AD. And yes, they have to make the decisions because they're at the top and the buck stops with them. I get that. I don't have any issue. I've been blessed in my career. For the most part of my career, I've had decent ADs and some very good principals. But that's not always true across the board. And those are the people making decisions at the top. But enough about all that. We got to get into Roger's team.
Yeah, you have,
go.
4 players scoring double figures last night, Coach, as you beat Lake Terrell. I think it was 67-11. But I want you to tell us about those players and the defense you're playing, because you're playing an excellent brand of defense right now, it looks like.
Yeah, I got 4 to 5 kids that we rely on. Any different night, any one of them could be our high scorer. But our main scorer is Keyshawn Brown. She's a junior. Been in the program since she was an 8th grader. Just continuously develops each year. Stays in the gym, trying to get better. She plays on the circuit, on the Adidas circuit with Lady Push. Just a heck of a defender. And her offensive game is really coming along now. She's probably averaging about 17 points a game. Then I have
we lost Coach Smith. We'll hopefully get him back here. He's cut out for a second. He was telling us about Brown and what she's brought to the program.
Hopefully he didn't have a power outage over there where he's living.
See if we can get him back here. I think I see it refreshing. So hopefully we'll get him right back. I think we're going to effort to get Coach Smith back. He was talking about some of his key players, which included one of those mainstays, Ed, in Keyshawn Brown. I think he's also got Lauren Williams. He's going to tell us about Alana Jones, Yamari Darden, Sienna Parker, some of the others that are essential to his team's success. So hopefully we'll get him right back here. If we can try to reconnect with Roger Smith, we will do so here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk in our remaining time on CoVA Sports TV before we will take a timeout and then bring in Ed Miller. So I think it might have been the phone battery too. Sometimes the phone's not charged up. It can
Come on, Roger. You didn't charge your doggone phone.
I don't know if that's what it was. We'll see. We'll find out. We will find out here hopefully in a little bit here. We'll get him back on too.
Yeah, we talked about Baskin Robbins. He might got an itch and ran out the door to go get some.
I don't think so. I don't think so. You're funny. We got him back here. Sorry about that, Coach. We I don't know if you had a phone call or something happened with the battery, but you were telling us about Brown and some others that contribute before Ed was making his wisecracks about ice cream again. Go ahead.
Yeah, I thought you got hungry, Roger, and ran to Baskin Robbins. I thought maybe you didn't pay the light bill because you spent that money on the ice cream too. Maybe your wife, you didn't take the garbage out, so she took you out. And of course, last night was Valentine's Day, so we don't know how long all night you were up. So it could be many reasons, but we'll let you continue.
That's right. That's right, man. I had a phone call. I don't know, somebody beeped in and it seemed like I lost you guys, but I could still hear you.
Okay.
I don't see the I don't have a visual on you guys, but I can hear.
We're here. Yeah, we're here.
I was talking about Keyshawn Brown, probably my best player on the team. The one we that's really my she plays point guard, but she's playing off guard this year. Like I said, she got 3 offers. Chowan, Elizabeth City, and Shaw University, and we expect for her to get even more offers this coming summer because she's playing on the circuit with Lady Push, and a lot of college coaches come to their games. Then I got a kid. Her name is Sienna Parker. She's basically our surprise kid. This kid has really surprised me this year. She's probably averaging about 12 or 13 points this year. She kind of sat back in the wings last year when I had the other kids and didn't really produce like I felt like she could produce, but she has stepped up this year, and she's basically our point guard. She can get to the rim, slash to the rim anytime she's ready. Just hard-nosed kid, real athletic. So she's really been a surprise for us. But on JV, she was really killing people. But when she got to varsity, she kind of sat back and let all the other girls do everything. But when those 3 seniors left this past year, she's really stepped up and done her thing. Then I got a kid, Alana Jones. She's a transfer from Western Branch. Kid she's had some up and down games, but trying to really teach her the game. Very athletic, probably about 5'11", 6 feet tall. Just real raw right now, but she helps us a lot. Usually put her in the top of our press because she's so long, wingspan so long. She deflects a lot of passes and stuff. So we love her. And then I have Lauren Williams. She's probably like 6 foot, probably about 280. Really moves, very mobile for her size. She's probably averaging about 10, 11 points a game. She also has an offer from Chowan University. So we got some good kids over there, and We don't have many, but the ones we have are pretty decent. And then we have her sister, who's Leah Williams. She actually plays basketball to stay in shape. She's a discus state champion. She won a state as a freshman last year in the discus, and still doing very well. And she's getting Power 5 offers in track already, and she's just a sophomore. So the kids we have are pretty good, man. We don't have any depths. We try not to do a lot of pressing and stuff because we're trying to stay out of foul trouble. But when we need to press, we do. So that's how we kind of running things right now.
See, that was the next thing I was going to ask you. You're shorthanded. So as a coach who goes far in playoffs now, it ain't like you play regular season and put the stuff away for spring sports. How do you compromise in terms of, or compensate, I should say, for not having a whole lot of people out there? And I do understand sometimes, okay, we like to press because I know you like to put pressure on people. So we have to pick and choose the press. But is there some other things that you do in terms of stretching games out for a limited roster?
Well, basically what we do in off season and all through our season, I get the most out of those kids that I have because I run them to death. I mean, and I get them to understand that they have to really be in good shape because we don't have that many kids. So they buy in that way, and they understand if they're not in really good shape, they won't be able to play 4 quarters because a lot of times they have to play the entire game. And I actually have to pick and choose when I try to press people in order to stay out of foul trouble. So, and when we're out of foul trouble, first, second quarter, then we can put more pressure on other teams. Ordinarily, if I had a more depth, we probably try to press and play man-to-man the entire game.
Awesome. Well, before we let you run here, Coach, we appreciate the time this morning. Give me a thought on just the postseason in general here. It's almost here, and another fun year of girls basketball in the area. We continue to see so many talented young ladies continue to thrive at the next level too. And I know you've got a couple you mentioned they're going to get to the next level. This group's still hungry and learning, and got a chance to make some noise here. Did you sense this team could be as good as it is? Has it really exceeded the expectations? And what do you think the ceiling is for this group?
Well, they've really exceeded my expectations because across the board, they're pretty young. Out of that 6 that I was telling you about, I'll lose only 1 this year. And matter of fact, that's the kid I forgot to say something about. Her name is what is the kid's name? Oh my God, Yaya Darden, Yamari Darden. This kid has really come on. She was with me last year, but she's really come on this year. She was another one of those kids that got playing time last year, but this year, she's playing all the time. And the kid has the best shooting form on our team, and I've just been encouraging her to shoot the basketball. And she really started shooting the ball, and then her mid-range shot is lethal, man. Like she had her best game on senior night, had never scored 24 points before. That mid-range just would not stop falling, and she did the same thing again last night, and she's playing well, coming on for us, and we're looking for some D2, D3 offers for her. But they've all exceeded my expectations. Like I said, I'll only lose her this year, after this year, and most of the kids coming, I'll have all that 5, the other 5 coming back next year, and then after next year, I'll lose only 1 again. So the future's looking pretty bright, man. I'm looking forward to what we're going to be able to do in the future, and we're going to fight tooth and nail to try to win the state championship this year as well.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Hold on.
All the best. Ed's got a parting shot for you. Go ahead. What do you got?
Yeah, hold on. Rod, you got to tell me, what about that son of yours? What's the latest with Tim? If I'm not mistaken, the last time I crossed paths, he was officiating now.
Man, this guy, he was disappointed because he couldn't play college basketball. He's on scholarship at Norfolk State. He's a sophomore now. He wanted to walk on last year, but he was unable to, man. And I just know how difficult that is or was for him because he had been in the gym since he was like 5 years old, man, like 4 or 5 days a week. So to be told as a freshman that you couldn't play anymore, it was crushing to him. But I was like, man, we got to take the scholarship, man. It's free, man. We got to take the scholarship. So he wanted to figure out another way to stay around the game. So he started refereeing. And, man, that dude is just taking off now, man. It's awesome, man. He had a game a couple nights ago, and he's doing varsity games. He had an NBA official scout come watch him and evaluate his game. And from every referee that I've been talking to, they say he's well on his way, man. He's doing a heck of a job, and they like his judgment on his calls, and he just looks the part. He done cut all his dreads off. He looks like a referee, man. He looks that part, and I'm just happy for him, man, because he's a young guy, and they said because he's so young, because a lot of officials don't start refereeing until they're older. He just turned 21, so they say he has a bright future, man, and he loves it, man. So I'm real happy for him.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, he did one of my games. And I looked at him. I said, I don't believe it. And he said, yeah, coach, I'm here. I said, okay, let's get this straight now, youngster. I better get all the 50-50 calls. Okay. He did a good job. But what I was hoping he would do is Roger his dad's games. I would love to see him throw his dad out of the gym because, you know, the kid was in my camp as a little youngster. I remember him, busted his butt all the time. I loved that kid's energy, and he could play the game. And I remember one time he came up to me and said, hey, coach, you know, my dad drives me crazy. You think maybe I can stay with you? I said, man, my door's open for you all the time. I said, I can imagine. I've known your dad. I can imagine it'd be rough with him, but anytime you need to come over, that's fine. I have no problem. But I'll tell you what, you've done a great job with that youngster. Of course, he probably gets most of that from his mom, but, you know, and I can see him. I can see him NBA. And I want him to do that because I need an in for some
tickets. He needs tickets. I knew where he was going. Roger. Ed's always got something in mind for him. Never. By the way, tickets for him and his partner would be nice, just for him. That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely the plan. I tell you that. That's his goal. So that's definitely the plan. Hopefully in about 5 or 6 years, that's where he'll be.
His goal is to referee one of your games and say you're out of here.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't stand it. I'll make sure he never does my games.
Yeah. See that? I would pay to be in front row for that game. In fact, you would see me standing up saying, he just cussed you out. Throw him out of here. Get him out. I would love it.
Yeah. Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on. All the best to you and your Mustangs. I'm sure you'll bump into Ed and us during the playoff journey, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Roger. Take care.
Roger Smith, the head girls basketball coach of the Manor Mustangs, and of course his son Ryan now officiating as well. When we return, we've got a special guest as well. He's the veteran sports writer, does a lot of things for the Pilot and other outfits. Ed Miller, he will come on with us here on CoVA Sports TV and 757 Saturday Sports Talk. After a quick word for some of the sponsors that make it possible for us, stay tuned.
Hi, this is Wayne Williams of Williams Deloach. I'm an experienced personal injury attorney, and I hope you don't need my services because I certainly don't like to see people injured on a daily basis. But in preparation for that unfortunate situation, your insurance coverage is very vital to your case. Give me a call today. I'd be happy to discuss your insurance situation for you and your family. That's the most protection you have, and you want to have that ahead of time.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Way of doing it is landing that jab. As you can see, Keyshawn right there going downstairs already.
Straight right to the body from Davis.
You see shots like that.
Just pushes him back.
He pushes him, staying underneath himself, staying calm. And it seems like he's ready for Nice right hand.
Catches him with that right hand.
Just right there, that backhand. But
Keyshawn will return to the corner.
Berinchyk right there just covering up. He was body work.
Left hook to the body.
That's where it is. Trying to get comfortable. You see those punches coming. He understands this a couple of times where their front foot met. He stepped right on
3. In a round that Keyshawn Davis scored the knockdown. To win a lightweight championship in his 14th pro fight. Loma
he don't get enough credit for is his defense. Superb defense. He don't get hit often.
Berinchyks only landing 11% of his total punches so far.
Don't allow him to tie you up and hit him downstairs to the body. That's where it's at. There it is. That's where it is. Over.
It is a knockout victory. Hey, Norfolk, Virginia. And he's looking straight at Terrence Bud Crawford and saying, we did it. One of the hottest rising stars in the sport just delivered in his first world title challenge. Keyshawn Davis is now
the easiest way to get to your opposition is the biggest target. You see Keyshawn right there, staying composed on the inside.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
There you saw it, Keyshawn Davis, the Norfolk native, getting it done. And we are now joined by a special guest who covers boxing, hoops, and so much more. You read him from time to time in the Virginian Pilot, and he's one of the veteran sports writers and best around, our good pal, Ed Miller. Ed, good to have you on the show. Thanks for stepping in today. And I don't know what was more impressive, Davis delivering that blow last night or Joe Tessitore on the call getting Norfolk right.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah.
As we know, when Norfolk goes national, it is often mispronounced. So,
yes,
yeah,
sure.
Kudos to Joe. Yeah, for sure. And
Joe
Keyshawn, of course. Yeah.
How about Keyshawn? And, of course, we also referenced earlier in the show, Ed, that not just Keyshawn, but little brother on the undercard, Keon, winning his second professional bout as he knocked out Ira Johnson in a 150-pound match. But you look at what he did in the Olympics here. And yes, he was a big favorite in this matchup, but it's still very cool. And the thing I brought up, we talked about it before with you, even you think of Sweet Pea Whitaker from the 757. I'm just fascinated to see where this goes from here. You go to the Olympics, you do this. It's the old in sports. You know how this goes. You've documented and chronicled so many neat stories and athletes from our area. What's next? We're always caught up in the what's next. And sometimes when we do that, we lose focus and, enjoying the moment and what just happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long journey for him. I think the first time I heard about Keyshawn Davis, I used to cover local boxing. I mean, I covered Pernell Wicker for a long time. After he retired, there was always kind of this thing of who's the next fighter going to be out of the area. And it was really unfair to say anyone could be as great as Whitaker, who was literally one of the greatest ever. I mean, he's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. But there were some people along the way who had some promising careers and for whatever reason, didn't quite get there. Because boxing is such a tough sport, not only in the ring, but outside. You need so much support from, trainers, you need promoters, you need the right backing. It's a long journey. It's almost like minor league baseball. I mean, you have to go through the levels to get to the top. You can't really rush it. But yeah, Keyshawn, I think I'd heard about him back in about 2014 or 2013 from Gloria Peak, who used to run the City of Norfolk's boxing program over at Barrard Park. And she said, "Oh, I've got an Olympian." And I said, "Oh, really? 2016? She said, "No, 2020. And I thought, okay, that's so far down the road at that point. But, Gloria was right. He did go to the Olympics, and here he is, a world champion. And, it's great to see for the region and particularly Norfolk, because he's so prideful about where he's from. And, he wears it on his trunks. So that's the kind of advertising you really can't pay for, for the city. And, he looks like and I'm not really particularly close to the scene anymore, but he does have looks like he has a incredibly bright future. I mean, he's got all the talent, all the discipline that it takes to succeed in boxing, and he's got the support. He's got top rank, so he's in a really great spot.
No question about it, Ed.
No, Ed, thanks for coming on, and I know we got you last minute, and that's our fault on that, but appreciate you jumping in here. And with the Davis kid winning last night, I thought of you because you've been around the boxing in the area. You hit a great point. It is a tough sport to just rise up and then everything be okay. And the seedy side of it is certain promoters. You hear a lot of boxers get to the top, all of a sudden they're broke, no money, mismanaged. It still has it. It's sometimes still lumped with professional wrestling, which we always give a side eye to begin with anyways. But wrestling is entertainment. Boxing is trying to be not trying, but it's been a sport. The thing I see with Davis last night when in the ring on the interview, they asked him, what do you want next? And he really went boastful as to anybody, everybody. I'll take on anybody. And at first I cringed a little bit, but it's his enthusiasm, which I love. He's a youngster. Hey, I'm not going to back down from any. I'm a champion now, so I'll take. But I would have to think his handlers, his people have to be careful who they put him in a ring with. Is he ready? Like I told Matt on the opening of our show, I don't know anything about the kid, anything about boxing, but I think his better days are ahead of him. He's not at his peak. And I think with your associated with boxing, is it not a big thing as to who you put him on a path towards? Because the wrong guy, a couple losses in a row, all of a sudden he goes into oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about in management. You need the right people that can get you on that path to succeed, and it's like a brick by brick thing. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure they've been pretty shrewd, pretty smart about who he's fought, and I have no reason to think they won't continue to be. I mean, he's got very good management. As you say, I mean, obviously he's 25. You got to think his best years are ahead of him. He's a taller guy for a lightweight. He's got a big frame. You kind of wonder if down the road he doesn't, naturally develop into, a junior welterweight, maybe even a welterweight. Who knows? That's far down the road. I mean, he doesn't seem to have any trouble making weight right now. But yeah, and again, I'm not really up on the lightweight division. It's like I used to be. But he's got one of the three belts, and I think, he's clearly a draw, which is important too. You need people that the fans want to see. It's one thing to be a great boxer. It's another to put on a show, and he really seems to do that. So, yeah, I mean, no reason to expect that he won't continue just to ascend in the boxing world.
And the other thing too, now, Ed, with him being a champion, and he loves Norfolk, which is great, and we want to see him around here, but the chances of him in a championship match at the scope, let's say, probably slim because of.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could probably make it happen. I mean, it's all about TV now, as much as putting people in the seats. And I have no reason. I mean, he fought there, earlier or late last year. He filled the place up, so there's no reason to think he couldn't fill it once again, and it would be televised. I mean, I know Whitaker fought at Scope a few times. It was a different era, title fights. And, there's Vegas, of course, there's New York. But yeah, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't fight, wouldn't have a chance to fight here. Part of that would obviously depend on the opponent, who he's fighting, whether they're willing to come into his backyard. Because one of the things about boxing is it's all about matchups. It's all about you not being at a disadvantage, and there are some fighters that have enough, on the line or nothing to lose, and they would come here and fight. So yeah, I think it's reasonable to expect that he could fight here. Again, I don't have any inside knowledge of that, because I haven't really looked into it deeply. But yeah, I think he could. We've had some good fighters from the area. I mean, guys like Doran Spivey was a very good fighter for a long time. Won a NABA lightweight title, fought anybody and everybody anywhere. And a lot of times he had to go in someone else's backyard and be the opponent. So that's sort of what I was talking about. There's a lot of other things that go into just, what goes on between the ring or inside the ring.
Yeah, I remember when Spivey, we had him on in studio, Ed, during our weeknight radio show, and after Sweet Pea's death, just how shook up he was, and he was a heck of a fighter in his day. I'm the last one here on the boxing, and then we'll probably dive into some college hoops with you. Is his brother and Keyshawn's brother here, Keon? Excuse me. I'm fascinated just with Keon, what's going to happen with him moving forward here. You know this in sports, we always get caught up too in the sibling, sometimes rivalries if they're coaches like the Harbaughs going against each other, whatever it might be, but. What do you think will take place with his brother moving forward? I mean, he's not at that level, but this has got to be a motivation and inspiration to him, and he's doing quite well in his own right.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. He doesn't have quite, I don't think, the extensive, one thing about Keyshawn, he has an incredible amateur background. I mean, he fought hundreds of fights as an amateur, which is really training. You can't, there's no substitute for that. But yeah, he's got the benefit of having his brother's support there, having the management, and it's a great marketing thing for the Davis family to come along. I mean, I don't remember Boxing Brothers. Does anybody remember that? I mean,
no.
Maybe the Quarries way back in the day. There was Jerry Quarry. He had a brother. The Mayweathers, brother Roger Mayweather. I think his brother. I'm just talking out of pulling this out of my.
Ed said Spinks Brothers might be one, right?
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah. Great call, Ed. Yeah, Leon and. Michael Spinks. Yeah, there you go. Probably
but
maybe
that's one of the rare ones. You don't see too many other than them. Yeah.
Yeah, I could be, like I said, could be missing somebody. But yeah, the Davis brothers, great opportunity for them. I mean, the sky's the limit, I think.
For sure. So we move over to college basketball, and certainly we'll get to the Commonwealth topics with you too, with ODU and James Madison, UVA, Virginia Tech not having great seasons, as the ACC might just send 3 teams to the big dance. They're hoping for 4 or 5. Clemson got a big win over Duke last week at Little John, but huge matchup today with Auburn, Alabama. 1-2 SEC. This isn't football, Ed. This is basketball today, and I think it takes center stage, but it's really cool to see a 1-2 matchup in February. We're so used to those at like November, December, and it's 2 teams in the same conference. In the SEC, my goodness, I'm looking at it. I mean, South Carolina's in the basement. They beat Clemson this year, who's the second best team in the ACC. What's the cutoff? I know you're not the bracketologist here, but play it for us for a second. I mean, can they legitimately get 12 or 13 things and 12 or 13 teams in this thing? Because it feels like they may deserve that. Yeah,
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, they're clearly the best conference, and it's the SEC's world basketball-wise. And yeah, it's great. Auburn, Alabama. I mean, it's a great warm up to spring football in Alabama, because football is the rules down there. But yeah, I mean, and you mentioned the ACC, just tough go for them. I mean, Duke. I think Duke's obviously the class, but how many teams are they going to get? I don't know. It's hard to say. Again, I don't have a degree in bracketology, but I do think obviously the SEC is poised to really, really do well on Selection Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness, when you look at those 3rd, 4th, 5th place teams, it's pretty baffling just some of the results they have. Another big win was Arkansas out of league play, beating Michigan at the Garden earlier this season. They almost blew it late, but my gracious, the league is loaded. And the Big Ten feels that same way now with the additions of UCLA and USC coming in. They can end up having double-digit teams, which makes the pie smaller, Ed, for – and you can speak to this a little bit here. Like, take, for example, VCU. If they don't win the A-10 this year, I think in years past they would have got in. But I look at their net, and I feel like it's going to be dicey for now until Selection Sunday. If VCU does not win the A-10 tournament and Drake doesn't win the Missouri Valley, they could get left out by an Indiana or Arkansas. Whether they deserve to or not is another argument. But they look at those teams and their quad 1 and quad 2 wins in the net, they could get left home, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's the same thing every year. It's always the case. These really good mid-major teams or high, near high major, in VCU's case, have to be almost perfect to get in, whereas the teams from the power conferences have to be merely, okay, 500-ish. And it's just tougher. It's not getting any easier. There are more. The bigger these conferences are, the fewer non-conference games they will play. And, who really wants to play VCU anyway, if you're out of conference? I mean, nobody wants to go to the Siegel Center and play them there. And they've proven over the years how tough they are. I think they passed the eye test. I mean, they look to me like an NCAA team, but again, there's only so many slots. So I mean, kind of rooting for them, rooting for all the Commonwealth teams to get in. I know David Teal did a piece about how many teams might get in. I mean, you're looking at Norfolk State. It's got a great shot, obviously. VCU being the other. George Mason is kind of having a really good year.
Great year.
I don't think they don't get a lot of attention, at least down this way. But beyond that, Virginia Tech, I mean, that's not happening. And we could talk about some of the other local teams too. It's going to be a tough road for them.
Yeah, Liberty could squeeze in if they win their tournament, but if they don't, Richie McKay could be out. And by the way, I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know about you, Ed, if Richie McKay might end up being the next UVA coach. I think there's a chance for that.
Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. The question is, how much influence would Tony Bennett have on the process?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have speculated that if Tony's making the call, it'll be Ron Sanchez or Richie McKay. It depends, going to be an interesting job. I mean, Virginia's been better of late, but has he done enough to merit getting that job? And the guy, he was put into an incredibly difficult situation. I mean, it's 2 weeks before the season. Hey, here you go. Good luck. It's like, or maybe it was less than 2 weeks, wasn't it? It was like 10 or 12 days.
Yeah.
And that'll be a very attractive job, obviously ACC job, and everything that comes with it.
Yeah, you also hear big names like Shaka Smart, Anthony Grant, and Jeff Capel. I say no to Shaka. I think he stays put. Anthony Grant's a maybe, and Jeff Capel, got to see how it plays out at Pitt. But, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if he tried to get closer to home roots in VA. But Richie McKay is doing it. And if Liberty goes to the big dance again and they win a game, now his name gains more steam, of course, too.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard Ryan Odom. I mean, that's something I've heard.
VCU, too. Yeah,
obviously his
dad,
Dave.
Yeah.
He grew up in Virginia. His dad was a coach under Terry Holland, and he's done a great job everywhere he's been. So and he's young enough that he would, presumably be there a while. Yeah,
sure. Coach Young.
Yeah, and listening to that and going backwards, right now, Indiana and UVA will be the two biggest openings. There are going to be a ton more. They'll be the two biggest openings for the basketball coaches world. And we like to think Virginia is going to be Sanchez, Richie, but I kind of think Virginia will listen to see who else is out there that may have interest. And you as well know this. You let the NCAA tournament play out, and whatever teams move into that Elite Eight, Final Four, everybody puts eyes on the assistants and also on what upstart young coach got his team into the Sweet 16. That plays out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it plays a big role. Hey, we got a chance to get this guy. We got to sell tickets. We got to get in players. And then here's the other big thing, too. We got to remember now, who's going to work that portal? Recruiting is different. Who's going to work? Who? Back in the day, it was like who had the good contacts. Well, who? It's kind of like that, but it's contacts in terms of bringing in portal. Carolina, I'm going to throw this out there, could be the next big opening this year, because if they don't get into the tournament, and I don't hear enough rumblings, maybe Ed, you do. I don't hear enough rumblings for Hubert Davis's head right now. But Carolina is one of those schools that if you're not in the Elite Eight, Sweet 16 at least, okay, we got to start looking at some things. I mean, that's just the level they're at. And yes, he's one of their own. He played there and whatever. He's a likable guy. But the bottom line is this, in this time and day now, we got to get there. So that could be a situation that maybe Hubert himself says, you know what? Because it could be, hey, we're going to give you one more year. Well, Hubert might think, you know what? No, I'm going to step back now, which is what I think happened with Calipari. I think at Kentucky, he realized I got one more year, and all of a sudden here come Arkansas opening. I'm going to jump to that, got the money, whatever. But I do think that you're right. If Tony has a lot of say in it, it'll be a short selection. But if Virginia says, no, we owe it to our fan base, us, whatever, we're a national program. We're going to see what's out there. It could be a guy we're not even thinking about right now, and it could be someone who's going to get hot later. I mean, that's just my perspective on that.
No, I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, they did hire a search firm. David Teal reported that, and that's just standard operating procedure. But it does suggest that they are going to broaden their search a little bit. And, honestly, why shouldn't they? I mean, Virginia has a lot to offer. They have an incredible arena, fan base. They've had success, for the better part of the last, over 40 years. So yeah, a lot to offer. It'll be interesting to see if they don't go with Sanchez or McKay, what sort of style they're looking for. Because, obviously Tony's style was not for everybody. I mean, it's great when you're winning, 52-47 or, whatever the typical score was. And they ran into some problems in tournaments, in games that were close, in being able to separate and just not having the pace to really, teams would stay in games. And when that happens, things can happen. So yeah, it'll be very interesting, as it is every year, the coaching carousel, because there'll be dominoes and ripples everywhere. I was going to say, I think around here we're pretty good. Mm-hmm. We have 3 new coaches of four of the teams. Robert Jones is a guy that I always think, is somebody ever going to hire him? I don't know. Is he interested? I don't know. I mean, he's done a great job there, and he could be somebody that get some consideration.
I kind of wonder too. His son Justin plays at Atlantic Shores, and I wonder if that's going to correlate, if at all. I mean, I'm sure that's not always in the plan, but I believe he's a junior now. So next year, be his senior year. Does he take a deeper look at that once Justin gets to college? And there's always been, the possibility that he could coach Justin at Norfolk State or wherever he goes. So yeah, that's always something I wonder about with coaches. They sometimes will coach their offspring at the next level, men's or women's hoops. But right. Yeah, that's the one that people are keeping the eye peeled. At Norfolk State, he's done a marvelous job there. And I think sometimes I think big picture, we don't realize just how good of a coach he is. He's done a superb job there, and he's gotten more local talent, believe it or not.
Yeah. I mean, Ed Young would know better than I, but when I watch them, I see a very disciplined team, that has an identity and, knows what it's doing, and just very, an efficient team. And he gets the pieces that fit together, and he seems able to keep everybody buying in to what he's doing, which is hard, to get guys to buy in all the time, especially when you're bringing in transfers and people like that. I mean, this kid that they got, Brian Moore, from Murray State, just turned out to be incredibly good. I mean, he's probably the MEAC player of the year at this point. Dynamic guard, really efficient, gets to his spots, really one of these guys that can just finish at the rim and can shoot the 3, but he's not just chucking threes. He when he does, he's selective, and he makes a pretty good percentage. So another case of just finding a guy that, you plug him in. I talked to him last week, and he said, I get these guys, or he credited his assistant coaches too with finding them and saying they're plug and play. I plug them in. They had Joe Bryant, they had Jamari Thomas. So they've had that guy in recent years, and Brian has turned out to be that guy this year, averaging almost 19 points a game, shooting a high percentage, and hitting some big shots.
Yeah, doing a heck of a job. Coach Young?
Yeah, I think when we look at Jones in Norfolk State, I think he's underrated nationally as a coach. He has those New York ties, and we always look at the New York programs that come open that he could be a candidate. But he is one that has shown he can work that portal, which is what people are looking for now in terms of, because that's awful hard to do. You might get a kid out of Murray State who's 6 man and think, okay, well, all of a sudden now you're super. He's the league MVP, and the other thing with Jones is at his level, I hate to say it, but it's truth now. You're going to get those type of kids one year, and then the big boys are going to come swooping in and take them. But if you could still keep winning with that attitude of like a JUCO idea, a JUCO coach, I'm going to have them 1 or 2 years, and then just keep that ball rolling. To me, you're a hot commodity in the business, because those bigger schools who have much more money to pay you, and let's call it what it is. Jones can love Norfolk State all he wants, but if somebody's offering him $2 million, $3 million a year, and Norfolk State can't touch that, right, nobody gonna fold him. I mean, it's that simple. And think about it. And Ed, you and I, we've talked about this at the Old Dominion games. If your NIL budget is $250,000, and a school that's wooing you has a $2 million NIL, but come on now, it's done right there. I mean, because that's that's the game the way it is now. It's strictly about money. It's parents saying, how much my kid going to make? Not how's your science department.
Right.
That's not important anymore. It just isn't. To me, it's still a shame, but it's just the way it is. And if you don't take advantage of that, like what's the Clemson football coach? Dabo. Yeah, Dabo getting idea that he's not real big into the portal, but yet let his team start dropping a little bit. Oh, he's going to be real big in the portal because you're going to have to. But I think that's a situation where with Jones, he's kind of put himself in a situation where doesn't have to leave because right now he owns the MEAC, period. And he can get his assistants. I'll give him credit too. They can find that kid out there who's not a stud somewhere else, but for them at their level, he's a stud. He's a player of the year. That's hitting a grand slam, bottom of the ninth home run to win the game right there when you can do that. So I think that he's not going to be at Norfolk State forever. Let's put like we talked about Michael Vick. If Michael Vick does great with the football program, starts winning, there are going to be some bigger programs come in there and say, just like they did with Dion at Jackson State, hey, man, we need you, and we can beat everything they're giving you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like, Jones has been there a long time. I mean, he's certainly shown a commitment to building that program. So no one could fault him at all if he was able to, step up in his career. So that's what everyone's trying to do. So yeah, but they've got the MEAC tournament in Norfolk, so we'll see what happens. Old Dominion has to go to Pensacola again, and I don't know if you've seen the bracket. The thing is like I've never seen a bracket that looked like that.
It's funny you said that because I'll be making the trip, as you know, with the ODU women down there coming up in Pensacola next month. And then Ed and I will miss the MEAC tournament, unfortunately, because it's the same time as the state tournament for the NFHS Network. So we'll be missing it. We were there last year. But it is – and the women have a big game today at James Madison. The men – I want to get – if we let you go here, and we appreciate the time, we'll get you back on, I'm sure, here during the March Madness. Your read on where Mike Jones is with his team, because it seems like they're getting better. Now, the last game, notwithstanding, because they got walloped at Georgia State. They got Georgia Southern coming up, and there's so many Joneses coaching, whether it be Mike Jones, the other Mike Jones, Delisha Milton Jones, Robert Jones we talked about. Keeping up with the Joneses, that's part of the coaches show we have on Monday nights at Recovery Grill there. But on the radio side of things, give me your take on where they are right now. And it's going to take time, like Ed's talking about, building your program, your identity. They're not there yet, but I do see some small steps of progress. Do you as well?
Oh, yeah, definite progress from where they started, which was kind of, honestly, like an alarming start. It was like, are they really – they're not this bad. They can't be. So, yeah, they've made steps. I mean, consistency has been their issue. I mean, look great one night, and then 2 or 3 nights later, you're losing by 25. So, yeah, I mean, they are getting there. Again, it's somebody asked me the other day, what do you think about next year? And I'm like, I have no idea who's going to be there. I mean, that's the question. Like
nobody does. They don't know.
You could project. You could say, well, this guy's a sophomore. This guy's a freshman. Here's what they've got. Now it's anyone's guess. I mean, I'm not sure anyone there, there's probably a couple of players that might, find themselves getting offers, from bigger schools. So, yeah, I mean, it's almost like minor league baseball. You start over every year with a new roster. If they're able to keep what they have together, I think the potential is there to be pretty good. And, they've been competitive. Again, right now, I think they're in 7th place, which means they'd have to win 5 games in Pensacola. If somehow they were to drop to 9th, they would have to win 6. It's just that they really want the Sun Belt really wants their top teams to have the, to represent them in the tournament, which, you can't blame them, I guess.
No, it makes sense. I think if you're one of those top 4, top 2, which I think our women's program thought was going to be the case, it hasn't turned out that way as of late. Can still turn it around, but yeah, it is. Ed would hate this as a coach nowadays because I think you made the greatest comparison I've heard, Ed, is that it's like minor league baseball, where basically they can take your farm system, they can trade your guys away, and if the SEC or Big Ten want your top guy, they're going to get your guy because they have the resources to go get your guy or gal in the case of women's hoops too. But always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on and talking some boxing and hoops with us. We'll be running into you in the gym soon, I'm sure, and we'll have fun as we get closer to the March to March.
Okay, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Ed.
It's Ed Miller. Check out his work. He's online too on Twitter or the X. Give him a follow at Ed Miller VA. We'll come back with more and put the finishing touches on this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. You'll hear from Maurice. We actually heard from Maurice Fofana. You'll hear from Rick Hite of the Kingsford Bulldogs boys program. And Ed and I will play in a little bit. Upset or nah? You ever seen that with the guy, the meme or the GIF? Nah. We'll play upset or nah as we close out this edition of the program on this particular Saturday, the 15th of February, a day after Valentine's Day, which is Ed's 4th or 5th favorite holiday. We know Thanksgiving is 1 for you and Christmas is 2, or is it 1?
Well,
Halloween's your least.
I'm still a free agent out there. So the good thing about this Valentine's Day, well, I saved a lot of money. I didn't have to spend all that money on a sweetheart. So I'm okay. But I told the ladies I'm now available officially February 15th because I ain't got to worry about buying anybody anything for a whole year. So we'll go from there.
We have not seen your Happy Gilmore swing, J-Lo. We have to check that out.
No, hold on.
He's got a Happy
cannot
Gilmore
use
swing?
J-Lo. You cannot use J-Lo tag because when you say J-Lo, I'm looking at a girl with a figure.
Hello, but that's
what
Jack, Jack Lowe's new nickname is. He's the male J-Lo, not the female. We have not seen Jack Lowe's Happy Gilmore swing. We'll have to check that out.
We're not getting Jack. Take that tag off. We're not doing that one because it's messing up my mindset. I'm thinking of.
You're thinking of every time you say the word J-Lo, you think of that J-Lo. Yeah,
right.
So you want to give him a new nickname? Well, how about you come up with his new nickname? What's his new nickname? Since you're the moniker man, I guess you're going to make the monikers, the tags.
Well, he's a youngster. Yeah, he's still down.
Come up with a new nickname.
We'll call him Lolo.
Lolo, not J-Lo?
Not J-Lo, no.
Lolo.
He's Lolo.
That sounds like Lala. I mean, no, I don't like it.
No, it's not Lala. Lala.
It sounds like that when you say Lolo.
When I think of Lolo, I don't think of nothing. So that way we can keep.
Well, but that's not nice.
I
don't like
that.
that.
I'm thinking there's nobody. When you say J-Lo, I'm thinking of J-Lo, the girl. So
I understand that. And so you want
when
a new
I say
nickname.
Lolo, I don't think of anybody. So
you want a new nickname for him. But Lolo, I think we'll come up with some other ideas. Let the audience vote or something. How about that? Give him a new nickname. Because I'm with you. I think we can find something better than J-Lo, but we can definitely find something better than Lolo. Lolo's terrible. That's like hi Lolo. No, nobody likes that.
I'm open for all kind of suggestions. So.
All right. Well, we're open for suggestions out there. Everybody wants to come up with a new name for him. We'll find one for him. We're going to take our last time out, I think, for today and hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible. It's getting close to tax time, Ed. Have you done your taxes yet?
No, I've gathered all my paper. I'm afraid to do it because every year I've been lucky. I've never had to pay. But now in the middle of this of the year where I had retirement.
Yeah. They're going to get you like they get me every year. You know why they get me? They get me.
Yeah, because you make big bucks. So you should be taxed. So me, I don't make that kind of money now. I got to find somebody to do the taxes.
Crying poor mouth over there. You're not. Anyway, if you need help with your taxes, you know who to go to, John's Tax Services.
I might have to use them. I wonder if we can.
I'm Dr. Mark Cardelia, orthopedic surgeon and surgical director of the CHKD Sports Medicine Program. We see a lot of knee injuries in student athletes these days, and many of these are ACL tears. Parents often ask how to know when a knee injury may be serious. The most obvious symptom is severe pain or swelling in the knee joint. Your child may have heard a pop when the injury occurred. Look for signs they can't put weight on the knee around 48 hours after the injury, or if the knee feels unstable or wobbly. Those are all signs you should see a CHKD sports medicine specialist. Our sports medicine physicians, surgeons, athletic trainers, and physical therapists understand the needs of growing athletes and tailor treatment to fit each child's age and level of activity. Our goal is to accurately diagnose the problem in a timely fashion and provide the treatment that will ensure a safe return to activity. Kids want to play, and we want to help them get back in the game. To learn more, visit chkd.org. Sports medicine at CHKD. We're more than a hospital.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 bacon cheeseburger meal deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 meal deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
All right, I'm here with Kings Fork head basketball coach Rick Hite. His Bulldogs win at 72-50 over Nance River to move their record to 18-2 on the season. Coach, I thought it was crucial that they had a bit of a spurt. I think it was 8 or 9 unanswered. Then you responded with a 9-0 burst or so to push it up to 10. And from there, they got it close to halftime. You knew what you were capable of in terms of pushing the game up.
Yeah, and I thought they was going to make a run. You know, Joe does a great job with them. They could score the basketball. We played the first game exactly like that. You know, we knew to take the punches and then respond. And I thought we did that several times tonight.
Darius Boston tonight, 26 points, 10 rebounds, a double-double for him. Some of what it's been like to watch his growth as a basketball player, where he was this shy, and he's still kind of shy and doesn't say a whole lot, role kid to now your future player.
Yeah, no, he said it. He started out as a catch-and-shoot guy, as a 9th grader. 4 years later, he could do more things. Like you said, he got bigger, stronger, athletic. He could put the ball on the ground. I really think he's a matchup problem and really under-recruited.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it seems like he's still under-recruited because he has the size, he can shoot it, and people have sort of forgotten about him. And maybe that's because you've had so many great players here lately, like the Jay Nepsis and the George Beals, that have led the way for you?
Yeah, he's a little different because those guys are like real alpha dogs, but he has a quiet confidence about himself. And I think sometimes he makes it look a little easy, and teams and coaches don't know how to read that.
Tonight, Jeremiah Morris with 2 emphatic slams, 10 points. He was close to a double-double. Then George Porter against his old team also had a big night, 10 rebounds for you. How much was crashing the glass and limiting them to one shot a big deal?
Yeah, Jay was hurt. Jay was hurt all week, hurt his ankle a couple games ago, but he gutted it out, and fought through it. And then George is just one of them kids, just he competes, he can turn it over, it don't matter to him, he's gonna go back and get it back. So, he's earned this start for us, and he's a big factor in what we do.
More for you. Though the shooting percentages might not be where you want it, 18 offensive rebounds, what does that say about your ball club?
So I think we can score in a variety of ways. We've had some really good shooting nights and some really poor shooting nights, and we've talked about that. A, we got to defend, and B, we got to go get it if we miss it.
You have 2 losses this year to C.G. Woodson and Oscar Smith, 2 of the better teams in Class 6 that can make their way to the state tournament. You guys believe you can make it to the state tournament in Class 5. What will it take to get there out of a tough region that has Woodside, the 2-time defending champ, and Norview and Maury, Nansman, among others?
It's the toughest region, I believe, around. And I think, playing the Smiths, the Woodsons, and then just the talented non-conference schedule should prepare us. But, who's playing the best at the right time will move on. We've been in this position before. But we're prepared. We're prepared.
And I have to ask this one, too, as a bonus question. Your daughter won tonight, had a big game, averaging 22 points per game. What's it like? You coached your son. I know you're more nervous, it feels like, not coaching, watching your daughter play.
It's the toughest thing in the world. I try to tell people all the time, that's my baby girl. She's a splitting image of me. And, so I'm trying to catch peaks on her, playing. And I think she has it. She has it.
Watch out for the Heights. Ryan's Pirates, Riley's Lady Bulldogs, and Rick Hite's Boys Bulldogs. Thank you so much. I love
Appreciate it, man. Always.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
We welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on CoVA Sports TV. Before we do upset or nah, what'd you think there of what Coach Rick Hite had to say to us as we hear from Lee Mary out there, Ball and VA podcast. Thanks for tuning in, Lee. Coach Hite, he remembers him from his days at Petersburg. Took him to a state final, lost in a heartbreaking fashion to the Hampton Crabbers, led by Anthony Cat Barber, but did a great job at Petersburg now. And Ed at Kings Fork, Rick Hite has them humming. He's got a record now of 138-31 overall at the helm of the Bulldogs up there in Suffolk. 11 straight wins over Nansemond River in that series. 9 of those 11 against you, my friend.
Yeah, he's a tough go against. His teams play physical. They play smart. He'll be a factor in this playoff race. I know he talked about how tough it is, but he's one of those tough teams. He's done a good job. And he's got the daughter playing, who's taken a chip off his shoulder in terms of how she plays. And, of course, now Ryan, his son, is over at Hampton. I went to go see Hampton play Thursday night. They played Drexel.
Did you? They won that game. Good job for Ivan Thomas. You didn't jinx your former pupil from Norview High days. Who's doing a nice job there, by the way. How about them? What, they're 500 first year? And we thought they might be the bottom of that league.
I think they're either at 500 or a game or two over, but he's doing a great job with what he's doing there. They're going to be all right. People are going to be all right.
I know when he looked in the stands or the court side, wherever you were sitting and saw you.
Right behind him.
Oh, were you? Okay.
I was right behind him. Yeah, I was on him hard. Watching his different decisions, watching his demeanor with his assistants, his bench. Again, part of what I'm doing all year is watching everybody's everything. I try to get myself straight with the opportunity to come back in it too. But he's going to do a good job. You just got to have you got to get the right players. And Ivan knows some people, so he will do better and better with that portal situation also. And they won a close one with Drexel. Drexel, good shooting team out of Philly, which traditionally they are.
Hampton has Hofstra today, right?
Yes, they do, at home.
And they're struggling right now as Hofstra. So that's another game that they could win. How about that? How about the
Pirates? You get a couple more wins there. And to get in the tournament, who knows? They win the tournament. They're in the big dance, and his first year would be something tremendous.
If they pull that off, you'd make him.
Yeah, that would be.
It'd be the toast of the town.
But I think Townsend's number one in that league.
Townsend or Townsend?
Whatever way you want to call it.
I call it Townsend. I don't know who calls it Townsend. It's not Tommy Townsend over there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they are not that far from them in terms of talent. That's a league really that now it's you can look at anybody and go down to the middle of the pack and they can win that tournament. So I'm hoping that he has that opportunity to do so and win. And, and another thing and we talk about playing high school playoff games on courts and Hampton, the convention center, has hosted before. That's a tremendous place to play.
That's called state semifinal games there. Remember Hampton, Bethel, Albemarle, LC Bird.
It is. It would be
Edison and
the seating is perfect. You're looking kind of down at the court, just like that. Yeah, we were there too. We got to get these playoff games into these courts. I know it's about money, but
it is about money. Every year. We got to get people paid.
Well, that's true too, man. Get paid. Be nice to get paid.
Yeah, it would be.
Especially before you have to do an assignment again. Be nice to get paid.
This is true. Trust me. Yeah. Trust me.
We've been there before.
We have been. Let's do upset or nah. There's always upsets coming. Here we go. We'll Ed Young to weigh in on the first one. It's coming up. Vanderbilt, as a 12.5-point road dog, will knock off number 5 Tennessee in Knoxville. Upset or nah?
Nah.
You're going nah? You do understand that Vanderbilt won the last meeting, and Vanderbilt erased like a 15-point deficit out of the gate of the night against War Darn Eagle in Auburn. Mark Byington doing a splendid job, former JMU Dukes coach. Well, a couple of his transfers like A.J. Hogarth from Michigan State days, Tyler Nickel, who we saw in a state championship at East Rockingham, will they step to the forefront today? Would love to see it happen for Nickel. but I'm with you. I'm going to say, nah. Chaz Lanier had a bad shooting game the last time out against Kentucky. As you watched, somebody thought they'd win that game. I think it was you. And I don't think he'll have 2 in a row. I think he and Zakai Ziegler will lead the way, and they'll get it done at home. Now, covering a 12.5 might be a different story, but I like them to win the game. I'm with you.
Yeah, I can see it cover, but I don't see him win it. And I'll tell you what, Tennessee, Rick Barnes, this is not the time to lose 2, 3, 4 games.
No, it's not. Rick Barnes never does great in the tournament. I know that's one of your favorites, but
yeah, Rick is
to
one
you
of my
before,
favorites.
and I'll say to you again, he's no Jim Laramie. Let's go to the next one. Stanford will stun number 3 Duke as an 18.5-point road underdog. And Duke
Stop.
2 in a row on a Saturday?
No, zero chances of happening. Zero. Yeah, zero. Not happening.
If Stanford beats Duke, Ed will get blue hair in honor of Duke.
No, I'm not getting blue anything. I'm just saying I got a blue suit.
You'll wear the blue suit on next week's show. Yes or no?
There, I'll do that. I'll go get my blue suit. Pretty sure it still fits, and I'll wear it on the show if Stanford beats Duke.
And you'll have to hold on. That's not enough. And you will have to sing the Stanford fight song during the show. I don't even know what it is.
Send me the words, because I don't even know. I don't know.
We'll send it to you. Is that an agreement? Is that a guarantee?
Yeah, we could do that. The Cardinal will not win this. It's not happening.
I don't think they will either, so I'll go nah. But I will say this, 18.5 is a big number, and I'm not as high on Cooper Flagg as everybody else is. So these announcers, they got to simmer down about Cooper Flagg. He's a great talent, but my goodness, you think they're going to have an explosion over him. I mean, calm down.
Everybody wants the next big thing. I kind of agree with you. He's talented, he's good, but I don't think he's...
I'll take Ace Bailey over him at Rutgers. Watch Ace Bailey. I think he's a better pro prospect. Number 3, upset or not, Utah at home as a 6.5-point underdog will beat visiting number 17 Kansas, which is known to self-destruct. 21-point lead 2 Saturdays ago at Baylor, lost the game. Big lead late on a Saturday before that against Houston, lost the game. The other night against the last place Colorado Buffaloes, almost lost the game, but they pulled away. Will Hunter Dickinson play defense? Because he defends like a mannequin could score on him. A mannequin could score on him. I'm going to call this the upset. The Utes. I got 2 Utes stepping up today for Utah, and they will knock off the Jayhawks at home. Give it to me. Upset.
Well, as much as I want to say no, I'm hesitant to raise a hand and say no. Kansas does some dumb things. I heard an announcer this week say he's seen him play 4 or 5 times, and he honestly believes at certain times they are so disconnected. And he mentioned Hunter in particular that he doesn't even want to be out there, and has something to do with he's 24 years old, 23 years old.
He's older than like half the NBA rookies.
Yeah, he's making his money. And he's starting to act like a pro. He's making his money, and he's waiting.
When he was in 12th grade, the number 1 NBA draft pick, the kid for the Hawks was like in 8th grade.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He could be Bronny's granddad, but go ahead. You're going nah or upset?
You pick upset.
I'm going upset.
Man, I want to say nah. Utah could be up for this game and knock them out.
All right, you're with it.
Yeah, they could get
him.
Right,
Dan Malloy's watching on IG. He's tuning in. You're going to see him later today, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go over and watch that ball game today. Watch his squad. He has a nice squad. Does a great job with his kids against Chris Moore and his guys. And let me give a shout out real quick. Let me just say this on Utah. I'll go with the upset too.
There you go. Boy.
2 of my former guys, Virginia Peninsula community college players, Keyshawn Johnson, Chris Hayes, committed for their college's days coming up ahead of them after the 2-year stint at Virginia Peninsula. Keyshawn going to Shawan, play with under Robbie Burke, and Chris is going to go play for Evan Key at Randolph. So happy for my 2 guys, and they're going to 2 really, really good programs under 2 really good coaches. Though I was telling both of them, you're under 2 very, very distinct different guys. Evan Key and Robbie Burke are 2 very different coaches, and Chris and Keyshawn are more low-key guys, especially Chris. He doesn't even say. Yeah, I don't even know if he's breathing half the time. But
that's nice to say.
Yeah, that's how low-key he is. But I told Keyshawn, who's also very low-key, get ready because Coach Burke will be posting you up in practice. He will be getting in your face. but he will back his kids to the mountains. So he said he's looking forward to it. He said he's already been told.
You're breaking up. Your mic is breaking up. Something's happening here. You're breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
We got you now. Yeah, you were breaking up.
Yeah. Keyshawn, he said, well, Coach, I played for you and for a couple of years. Can't be nobody more crazier. I said, well, good point. But I think he is. I think he's much crazier than I am.
Good. Well, great for Keyshawn and Chris Hayes. Happy about that. All right. Last two because we got to roll. I got to roll. Upset or nah, Florida State will give Leonard Hamilton a happy home win as a 4.5-point underdog to visiting number 23 Clemson. If you saw it today, they beat Wake Forest. Probably shouldn't have won that game. Will Clemson fall victim? They didn't fall victim against UNC on Monday night after the big upset of Duke. Will they get knocked off here and it hurt their seeding situation? They're going to be in the tournament, but will it hurt their seeding in Florida State? Make a little push here. What do you say? Upset or nah? It's in Tallahassee. It's in Tallahassee.
No, I would like to see the upset, but nah, I really do. Clemson is just better than Florida State. And I don't know. I'd like to see it for Hamilton's sake. Another good friend of mine, Stan Jones, assistant there. I'm not sure what Stan's status is for next year. We know Hamilton's retiring. No, I don't see it.
Florida State, 71. Clemson, 72. Nah, just didn't quite pull the upset off. They'll come up just a fraction short this time. And our last one, Ed, I can't wait on this because I'm the broadcaster. ODU women knocks off James Madison. I should say knock off, not knocks off. Knock off James Madison today. Here we go. ODU women will knock off James Madison in Harrisonburg. Last time you said they would, and it was not pretty. What happens this time?
No.
Oh.
I want to say yes. I really do, and the ladies need it. But JMU is pretty good. They're pretty good. They will be in the NCAA tournament.
Well, they win the tournament in Pensacola, the Sun Belt tournament.
Yeah, they're going to win the tournament, and they're going to be in the NCAA tournament. Yes.
All right.
Maybe they'll be a little overconfident. Old Dominion can really put it together. Keep it close to the end. That's the key. They got to keep it close to the end to give yourself a chance to win it.
Well, yeah. Thanks for the obvious there. That's like Tom Brady last week saying, you know what? I think Patrick Mahomes is going to try to throw the ball to Travis Kelce, his favorite target. No, duh.
No, he's not. He didn't throw the ball. That's another thing. Why didn't Mahomes Kelce didn't have any targets, did he?
No, he did have a catch. He just didn't have as good a game. He didn't win your props that you had. So
what's the final on the picks? I didn't see that come across the screen yet. Because I know I won.
We're out of time. We'll talk to you all next week.
Every time this guy wins, we don't see it. Had I lost, it would have been the first thing we would have done.
I promise you, we can start the show next week with it since I don't have it in front of me. So I'll let you have your moment.
I already know we won, so I won.
Don't worry, Ed.
Well, stick with me, booby. I'll make you a star.
That's right. We'll talk to you next time on
You're making me uncomfortable right
Saturday Sports Talk. Am I?
I don't know how to take that. I mean,
okay. We'll talk to you next time on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. So long, everyone. Bon voyage.
Like my skin is like you're making me uncomfortable. Like I don't know what you're talking about.